Let's start by introducing the weapons we'll be using for this build. Mohgwyn's Sacred Spear is a unique great spear that deals physical and fire damage. It has innate bleed and scales with strength and arcane. To get it, you'll need to beat Mohg in Mohgwyn's palace and trade his remembrance for it. The second weapon we'll be using is considered by many as just Mohg's spear from Wish, but it's actually a top-tier weapon. The Bloodfiend's Sacred Spear does a lot of physical damage and scales primarily with arcane, which gives it a lot of bleed buildup. To get it, you'll need to make your way to this location in the DLC. Here you'll find a Bloodfiend patrolling the pond. Kill him for a guaranteed chance to get his weapon. As you can see from this comparison of both weapons' unique skill, the Bloodfiend's is much weaker. At this point, you might just dismiss it as a weapon that's not worth using. But it will not only unlock the power stanced moveset, which is amazing, it will actually do more damage than Mohg's spear during normal attacks. This is due to its damage being only physical and its better scaling with arcane. These two weapons were definitely meant to be played together. You can use Mohg's weapon skill to kill groups easily at the cost of being immobile. And you got the power stanced moveset for single targets and more mobility. The armor we'll be using is very specific and contributes greatly to the damage we'll be doing. The white mask will increase all our damage by 10% for 20 seconds whenever bleed happens. Lita's armor will increase our roll, backstep, and crouch attacks by 10%. Finally, the Rakshasa's gauntlets and greaves will increase all our damage by 4%. Here's a damage comparison with no armor, and with the full set recommended. For the Talisman setup, you might be tempted to buff Mohg's weapon skill as much as possible. I think this is the wrong idea. This skill is so slow that it's pretty much impossible to get a full cast on any boss. This background gameplay on Malenia, which is not only weak to bleed but can stagger, is the perfect example of this. Buffing the normal attacks of the Great Spears is a much better option. They do a ton of damage, they're very fast, and they benefit from the counterattack mechanic. This mechanic basically increases your damage by 30% whenever you attack an enemy that is attacking you. With that in mind, our first talisman is going to be the Lacerating Cross Tree. It will increase our sprinting attacks by 15%. The Retaliatory Cross Tree will increase our damage by 17% after rolling, backstepping, or crouching. The Rotten Sword Insignia will increase our damage by 13% after enough successive hits. Make sure to use the dash attack to build up this bonus. And finally, the Spear Talisman. This will increase our counterattacks by 15%. Now let's take this build to the next level with the Seal and Incantations. The Dragon Communion Seal is a must-have in any arcane build. It will give us a massive 341 incant scaling, which is on par with most faith builds. For the support incantations, we'll use Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength. They will increase our defense and stamina as well as our physical and fire damage. And for the offensive incantations, Swarm of Flies to proc bleed and harass enemies. Furious Blade of Ann's back because it looks cool. Exix Decay or Rotten Breath to proc Scarlet Rot. Borealis' Mist or Dragon Ice to proc Frostbite. Dragon Maw for big damage on stuff that can't bleed. And Bale's Flame Lightning for anything weak to fire or lightning. Now for the last piece of the build, which is the Wondrous Physick. The Thorny Cracked Tear is a must-have. It'll buff our successive hits by up to 20% for 3 minutes. The Bloodsucking Cracked Tear is the second best option in terms of damage. It will buff all our damage by 20% for 3 minutes, but it will drain our health pretty quick. If you don't want that to happen, you can replace it with the Flame Shrouding Cracked Tear. And here's the damage comparison with the Flask. Keep in mind that this doesn't include the 45% damage boost from counterattacks, so the build is even stronger than what I'm showing here. To wrap up this build, here are the stats I recommend with the Wretch starting class. The Vigor, Endurance, and Mind is mostly personal preference. 24 Strength and 14 Dex for the weapon requirements, and 25 Faith and 80 Arcane to give us the best scaling with our weapons and seal while still having access to the incantations I showed earlier.